What's going on? It's Coach Williams, and as always, I'm back with another breakdown. So, today, while I'm on vacation, I want to talk to you guys and show you a little video that was inspired by my interview with Taylor Kyles on Patriots Press Pass and CLNS Media. So, he really pushed me on what it meant to spin the dial as a defense. So, this is part 2 of the Cover 2 series. We're going to go into a little bit more detail about what spin the dial means, how the Patriots can do it, and we're going to jump into VR. So without any further ado, let's get this thing started.
You like that? You like that?
What's going on? It's Coach Williams, and I'm back for another breakdown. So today we are going to talk New England Patriots, and we're going to talk Cover 2. We're going to go into more detail than the last video and talk about how the Patriots Cover 2 scheme with some of the guys that they've added can be a really nice additive thing to their man-to-man coverage looks that they give, all right? So off the bat here, right, if we look at this shell right here, this is a single high shell, right? Middle field closed, okay? So it looks like they're either in cover 1 or cover 3. I would assume, right, if a quarterback's looking at this, this looks a little bit more like cover 1 because you got stacked receivers here, and these two look like they're trying to create some kind of combo to make sure that they both can cover their guys, all right? But as the video progresses here, one thing that you'll notice here that I really like about this is Judon is pointing out here, and see how he waves his hand? Watch what ends up happening. Ends up being a motion, right? So Judon has watched some tape. He knows what's going on out there, all right? But back to what we're talking about, cover 2. If you look at Duggar here, he spins back to a too-high shell, all right? So they're in cover 2, okay? So they're running this Tampa 2 scheme, and it's play action. Okay, so they pulled the guard here, as you can see, right? They pulled this guard. They got the motion going this way. Play action pass, okay? So that would mean that Bentley is going to have to be the whole match defender, okay? And so, in my opinion, the most important people in the cover 2 scheme are not the two high safeties. It's the corners on the outside, like we talked about before, getting their jams and getting reroutes, okay? Making sure that these receivers can't get up the field, but it's also really important that this whole match defender here closes off the middle of the field because this is a middle field open coverage. This whole match defender is extremely important to the defense because it allows the safeties to be able to get width and get wider if they're getting pushed vertical. And so Bentley, we all know that he's a thumper, and he does a good job of getting a reroute here, but he ends up on top of Tavai, and that opens the middle of the field. There's this wide open in cut here, and it ends up being a big completion for a first down. So we're going to rewind back all the way to the divisional round when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and they were playing against the Browns. And this is one of my all-time favorite playoff interceptions. So, back at this time, and they still do it today, the Chiefs would run this cover 2 scheme where they would move all of their players around. They would disguise really well and make sure that the quarterback did not know who was dropping where. And the chief player in this defense was always Tyron Matthew, and he made some incredible plays over the course of his career. So we've got Tyron Matthew up here, and it looks like they're running this cover 2 shell, and he's going to be a half-field player. But our man Third and Sorensen over here, if you don't remember Sorensen, he had a little bit of a rough time towards the end of his career. He's going to rotate back. All right, so now you've got a 3-high safety look. So what are they doing here? They're still running cover 2, but they're dropping Matthew down as that whole match defender here, okay? And so what the whole match defender typically is going to do is, like I said, he's going to close off the middle of the field, but it's not cover 3. He's not going to run down the field with a vertical threat. He's going to carry this 18 to 20 yards usually, and that's exactly what he does here. and he sees that this in cut is coming in behind him, right? So it's almost like a dagger concept. They're running a seam here and then a dig in behind him. And so he knows that it's coming. But what makes this play so incredible is rather than jump in front of this thing, if he jumps in front of it, well, then Baker's not going to throw the ball. He goes behind it to bait Baker into the throw and then comes underneath and picks this ball off. Okay, so the reason why I show this play is instead of having a linebacker be that whole match defender, if you can get a safety with some athleticism back there, it creates a situation where you can be way more versatile, you can disguise way better, and you have a better athlete back there in the middle of the field, reading quarterback's eyes and doing exactly what Tyron Matthew just did on this play, getting creative with things and being able to just be a playmaker and be a ball hawk. Well, the Patriots are no stranger to having a more athletic player play in the middle of the field and be that whole match defender, and usually they have it be Kyle Duggar. So, in this situation, they're running an inverted cover 2, so you can notice that the corners are not pressing the receivers on the outside, right? They're going to bail to their deep halves. And then Kyle Duggar is showing this blitz, and he is going to end up being the whole match defender in the middle of the field. So, if we play this, you'll see, give this blitz look, we get some guys bailing out, including Kyle Duggar. He gets back to the middle of the field, quarterback gets sped up because the picture changes on him. He drives in front of this thing, picks it off, and then it's off to the races, makes a few guys miss, gives this nasty stiff arm at the end, and scores a touchdown. Well, the challenge, though, with having Kyle Duggar be that whole match defender in this defense is Devin McCourty is gone. So you're going to want to make sure that you have some guys back there as the half-field defenders, right? The guys that are making sure that they're deeper than the deepest, be guys with a little bit more experience. So they probably might want to have Kyle Duggar back there a little bit more often. Well, in comes Marte Mapu. I think Marte Mapu's skill set to be able to be that pole runner, that whole match defender in their cover 2 scheme is going to be an awesome thing that they can use. And have Duggar and Mapu be interchangeable with who's going to be the split field safety and who is going to be the whole match defender. So we got Marte Mapu up here, and this is not a cover 2 play, but this kind of athleticism and this ability translates to being that whole match defender, okay? So he's back here, and I believe this is a cover 1 concept, and he's in man-to-man coverage. They run it under on him, and he's way far off, but he has the speed, the makeup speed to be able to get down here and then destroy this ball carrier. Like we talked about in the last video, the knockback power is just incredible. But one of the things that I really think is extremely important as this whole match defender is if it's run, can you insert and play as a linebacker? Well, I think that Marte Mapu's natural position is linebacker, but from what we've been hearing, he's been playing a lot of safety as well. He's been moving from linebacker to safety all over the place. Well, as that whole match defender, if it ends up being a run play, do you have the ability to pursue, get to the football, and make plays? Well, again, this is not cover 2, but this is similar depth that you would have as the whole match defender in that cover 2 concept, and it ends up being a run play. It bounces to the outside, and look at Marte Mapu, like we talked about in the video where we broke him down. Look how much ground he covers immediately on the snap of the ball. He gets downhill, he gets into the fit, he's about a yard or 2 away from the line of scrimmage, it bounces, and then he has the speed and the ability to get on the outside and make this tackle. So, now we're going to transition at this point into the video to some VR stuff, and I can show you exactly how I think the Patriots will be able to scheme some things up as early as week 1 to confuse the Eagles and be able to run this cover 2 scheme to perfection. So let's just jump into VR. So here we are in VR, and this is an opportunity for us to step into a play and take a look at how the Patriots can scheme some things up here with that cover 2 scheme. So as you can see, I've got Marte Mapu out here. We don't know what number he's going to wear, but right now he's wearing 52. I like him as the linebacker. I'd love to see that dude rock 52, but we have him in the middle of the field. So he is being that single high safety here. And then you'll also notice that I've got Jalen Mills out here. Now that he has moved to safety, I think that he can play in this star role. So he's to the field here, and he's an overhang defender. And we talked in the last video about Jonathan Jones and Christian Gonzalez and their flawless cover 2 technique. I think that this is a really nice look for them. And then also, as always, all-world Kyle Duggar is out here. Now, if we flip around to the Eagles' perspective on things here, as the quarterback, standing back here, he's got this opportunity to look out here and see this. This looks like a blitz indicator here. You've got a single high safety, and then you've got Judon out here lined up over a number 2 receiver. But Duggar is down here as well. And usually what you're going to do is you're going to replace the blitzer. So you're going to blitz off the edge. The safety will rotate down and take the receiver that is out there. So if you're looking at this as a quarterback, it looks like it's probably going to be cover 1, especially with the Patriots. They run a lot of man-to-man coverage, so you would assume off the bat it's cover 1. Well, when you play the animation here, Mapu steps down and becomes that whole runner from depth. Okay, so he's going to step down, and then Duggar and Mills are going to drop back and be those 2 high safeties here. Okay, so also what makes this really cool is since Duggar is here over the top of Judon, and Judon is still going off the edge, if the quarterback sees this, it's still going to feel like a blitz indicator here. It's going to take him a second to be like, oh, wait, this is a 4-man rush. This is cover 2. And the icing on the cake is that you've got Bentley and Tavai. These guys are not good in space, right? So we want to confine them to as little space as possible, and we're just pushing them into their curl windows. So they get pushed into the curl windows. They're not going to have to run 18 yards down the field with anybody. They're just sitting in their curl windows and doing what they do best. If the ball is thrown in their area, they can either try to make a play on the football or rally up and make a tackle. Now, we're going to look at another perspective of this in VR, another look of this cover 2 coverage, and I think that this one can be really, really interesting. So let's jump right into it. So in this one, we've changed the picture a little bit. We're showing that 2 high shell, very similar to what the Chiefs did before. And now we've got Marcus Jones out here because he has typically been a slot corner. So we have him out here, and then we've got Duggar and we've got Mapu out here as the deep safeties. And we're going to give that look that's very similar to what the Chiefs did, right? We push Marcus Jones back, and then we get Mapu in the middle of the field reading the quarterback's eyes, okay? And so there ends up being a crosser over here, and the key to this is pressure, right? So pressure on the quarterback, getting Jalen Hurts to have to be a little bit more uncomfortable and try to get outside of the pocket. And so we have this crosser here from A.J. Brown. And then he sees that his quarterback is scrambling, so he bangs back outside, and Mapu can step in front of this thing and pick it off, all right? So let's just run the animation one time through. And bang, interception. All right, so I think that this is definitely a look that they can use to confuse quarterbacks. They can do it from a number of different angles and a number of different personnel groups as well. And I think the keys to this coverage are Marte Mapu and Kyle Duggar, and then their ability to mix in guys as this other split safety. So whether it be a Marcus Jones, whether it be maybe a Jonathan Jones or Jalen Mills, like we talked about in the last one, I think that this scheme can really be a nice bread and butter thing for them when they're not running their man-to-man coverage schemes. So I'm going to continue to make more videos as we lead into training camp and get into the season. So you're going to want to come back for more breakdowns. But these models will be available to you. Just look at the description in the video and you can jump in and step into these spots yourselves, whether you want to do it on your computer or in VR. But I'll be back soon with more breakdowns. So as always, you know what it is. It's Coach Williams, Ball Hawks. We fly. I'm out. Peace.